Welcome back. You here at Goldberg. Today I'll be talking about, and I apologize in advance for layering it on kind of thick with the content this week, but this particular story was too scrumptious to turn down. For those of you who don't know, the last 2 decades or so, Turkey has been relatively politically conservative under the administration of this fellow Recep Tayyip Erdogan. You could compare their politics in some form or fashion to American evangelicals, but it's also very distinct. Now, prior to Erdogan in 2003, you had a long running tradition of secular nationalism and a strong military that would keep the religious fundamentalists in check. By no means, with this being said, are we dealing with Saudi Arabia or Iran. It's still a relatively moderate liberal country with some conservative enclaves politically and culturally. Now, the advantage or drawback, depending on your opinion, of being a figure such as Erdogan, who is this representative of the global Muslim community, he has been compared to those with neo-Ottoman tendencies. He's president of Turkey, so he probably sees himself as descending from the Sultanate, which traditionally went hand in hand with the Caliphate over most Muslims, even though some Muslims didn't agree with its administration. So he wanted to promote in this anti-Western fashion cooperation within the Ummah or the Muslim community. And Muslims will always tell you there's no race in Islam. It's all about being a Muslim and submitting to Allah. So Erdogan created scholarship opportunities and low tuition avenues such that Muslim brothers and sisters from Africa could pursue education in Turkey. One popular destination for such students has been Karabük University, which has anywhere between 5,000 or 12,000 in residency studying or in the surrounding community. And recently, a scandal erupted. This guy says there are many black Africans studying at this particular institution, and students are committing mass zina with Turkish female students. It happens in almost every university, but HIV numbers are very high in this particular location. Both black male students and female students are in the wrong and they should get punished. The official toll is that over 500, mostly women, but you could throw in some Muslim cells who are probably getting nocturnal satisfaction from the brothers, have been diagnosed with HIV.
Wow, that was brutal.
Wow. And I thought to start, this is probably ludicrous. It was ginned up by some nationalist groups because they want to deport these people. They don't enjoy having them in the community. And the local health agency also denied that there were these high rates. However, it's not super difficult to accept because it has happened to some extent before. This is Simeon Mole. He was a Cameroonian journalist and political activist based in Poland who allegedly had intercourse with 300 Polish females and gave many of them the AIDS baby. When he was put on trial for his crimes, he responded, "You racist man, you racist man," but nothing came of it because he expired. And then his mother said, racism. What can you do? But the real question is, what precisely was going on in Turkey? You might say it was just Tyrone doing his thing, but you can't deny the possibility of the Pookie and Cray Cray factor. Because as much as I think the whole oofy doofy is bunk, the one group that, at least in the past, has been a little bit more blessed with the advantages of you don't have to be perfect would be some brothers. I've seen this in the West, and we talked about it before, the Flava Flav dynamic. You can be not necessarily a drug dealer or hardened criminal, but if you have that vibe, even if you are kind of goofy and a clown, some women will literally almost adopt you as a child when they try to date you. No, I'm not saying it as though I'm a Pookie or a Ray Ray. I don't think I could pull it off. Not quite. So it could even be some of those dudes. But it's showing you, even in the context of the Muslim community, isn't there that pillar of Islam where it says hijabis, they have to take or consume the jizra? That's what Muhammad expects. And they might just be doing what God intended. But in any case, I really think this speaks to a problem with the Muslim community at large, because we know in the Western world, even the girls who wear the headscarves, go to high school, when it comes to Chad and Tyrone, They are extraordinarily passionate activists, and they're taking it up the ass for global warming all day, every day, 24/7. It's just the way you have to accept it. But in Muslim regions, to the extent that they start getting the smartphone, they're figuring out what else is out there. How many are genuinely going to say, yes, I still want to be married to 5'5" Maboob who reads the Quran 5 hours a day and has balls out for the Palestinians? Do you really think she wants to spend the rest of her life calmly massaging the sweaty Hawaiian fat rolls underneath her burqa and just popping out a couple of kids? Hell no. In fact, I was having a conference with Brother Amr Metwali, student of the Wise, and he says his prediction is the Muslim birth rate is going to collapse even worse than the Caucasian one in the next couple of decades, which you could kind of see how this is going to play out. What is your motivation as a good Muslim boy to fight for the independence of the Muslim nations and the legacy of whether it's Erdogan or Chadam, perhaps Hamas or Hezbollah? What are you going to do? And you're seeing that your sister or the girl you had a crush on is bouncing on top of Tyrone for Muhammad. This is brutal stuff, ladies and gentlemen. So ultimately, I want to ask you guys that question. Do you believe the Muslim community is going to get stronger, more ironclad, conservative, or will it fall, as it seems everyone else does, to the endless legions of Muslim Tyrones and Pookies and Cray Crays?